Good evening, everybody. Today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. We're in the Eldon F. Marrera Board of Selectmen meeting room on the second floor of Town Hall. Time is 6 o'clock. Before I ask everyone who can stand to stand for the pledge, please be aware that this meeting is being recorded for use on the internet and the local cable station. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So Jeff had a last-minute unforeseen issue and won't be able to be here tonight, so I'm going to preside as chair. Because Jeff isn't here, we've asked State Representative Bridget Plouffe to come in at another time to be determined at a later date. So moving along, we have a vote to ratify Catherine Goulet's employment as Assistant Library Director. Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Did you want to say something, Ms. Director?
Yeah, sure. So we've been without an assistant director for about 4 months now, and we interviewed. We had about 26 people apply for the job. We ended up interviewing 4 people, and Kathy was. We had a lot of good candidates, but Kathy was the one that really stood out to all 3 of us who did the interviews. Me, Linda Torres, and then Michelle Sheen, our circulation supervisor. So we're excited to have her on board and get going and see how everything goes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anything you want to tell us about yourself? Introduce yourself.
Sure. I just recently moved to Weymouth about 2 weeks ago. I lived in Western Mass in East Hampton, and for the past 10 years I was the children's librarian at the Ware, Massachusetts Library, and I'm just really excited to start.
Nice, wonderful.
Awesome. She asked a question I was going to ask. Welcome to the area, and definitely welcome to West Bridgewater. And if those fine people have already said you're good,
I'm good also.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you working this week? I think it's this week that the
Monday
kindergarten
she's
group.
gonna start.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the kindergarten group they come this week or next
Uh-oh.
week.
You know, I don't know. I overheard that conversation, and I'm not sure.
I got
if
the
it's-
letter in the mail today because I have a
Okay.
kindergartner there. If you see Connor Perez, I'm sorry. That's my little one. And
He was
Well,
just telling us he behaves now. And
he
so-
does, but sometimes I can't. I apologize to people in advance. I apologize to people in advance.
So that's when the kindergartners go over and get their library cards and stuff. That's
He's
really
super
nice.
excited.
I love that the schools do that.
He's
It's
super
a whole
excited.
walkover and everything. That's
so
fun.
cute.
Yeah,
Super
it really
excited.
is. Yeah, that's great. All right. Well, I will make a motion to vote to ratify Catherine Goulet's employment as Assistant Library Director, and I believe she would be starting Monday. Is that pending
Yep.
anything?
Effective March 23rd.
Yes.
Yep. Effective March 23rd.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Hi,
Aye.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hope to see you soon then.
Great. Yeah, you too. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right, since the first budget hearing we have is the Board of Health, but they're not coming in just yet. They're going to be in a little bit later. So we're going to skip down to F, to some of those budget hearings there. And David, if you want to take over there.
So I'll move through all of these budgets here that I do on an annual basis. Moderator budget, level funded, 0% increase, no changes. 1220 budget, Board of Selectmen, you see a 4% increase. The only changes are contractual, but also our auditing services. We go out to bid every couple of years. That contract was renewed, and you can see it's $4,700 more. So instead of a 2% increase, it becomes a 4% overall increase. Next is the Finance Committee. That will be level funded, no changes. Finance Committee Reserve will be level funded as well, no changes. The insurance budget at this point, I have not received in my final rate, but I'm budgeting 6% increase. Sealer of weights and measures, it's up 3%, but that's only because of the 3% COLA in line 1, and the other lines are so little that there's no other changes. Veterans budget. The veterans budget looks like it's up 5%, which technically it is, but I want the board to recall that what we did was we made a change last year where we were paying about $40,000 for 2 people, and we consolidated that to 1 person, and we changed that stipend a little bit. So it looks like it's up, but it's really because we were just moving the positions around. Veterans Memorial Day budget, that one is substantially down. Again, only $1,300 difference, but that's because the parade was held last year in West Bridgewater, and this year it will not be. I believe it's in Bridgewater. Historical Commission is level funded, no changes. The benefits budget is by far our largest non-department budget. You can see it's up about 9%. I'm hoping we can tweak it a little bit. Our health insurance came in rated at 10% increase. Right now it's in at 12, so I might be able to lower that a little bit. And however, the retirement is set at 8.25, so I'm probably gonna just move those around once I finally get that policy in from retirement. But that's usually been 8.25%. And the other ones, FICA and all that, that's just, according to federal law. So no other changes to that. And the last one is the capital budget. You're not voting on this. The capital budget committee met on Tuesday. We heard presentations from department heads in reference to all of these proposals. It is made up of Jeff as chair here. He's on it, myself, Scott Golder, 3 people from the school committee and 3 people from the finance committee, of which one is in attendance tonight. And so all of us heard presentations. These have not been approved, recommended, not recommended, just giving you a heads up so that way you'll see these in another couple of weeks. Or actually maybe, you'll see these in a couple of weeks when we start putting together our warrant. But these are all the numerical values associated with their respective projects as to what's been submitted.
Mike, do you have any questions?
Yeah,
Or?
on the last one, are we anticipating any more to be added to this,
No.
the capital budget?
Nope.
This is it? And then in that meeting, we'll have a breakdown, a little bit,
Yeah, this here is just,
way top.
because we don't even know what's going to be recommended to the board yet.
Okay.
Anything else, Mike?
Nope, that's
I
it.
don't have any questions either.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right, so we'll move on to vote on the picture for annual town report. Oh, this is always fun.
Yep, so you have a handful of pictures that have been submitted,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's whatever the board prefers, and we'll obviously implement from there.
Can you go back to the beginning there, Christine, and just... Oh, there's how many are there? There's 4?
I think there's
Oh,
5.
okay.
4.
All right. Just pull them up on my thing here. What page is it? What do you think, Mike?
I like this one. Oh, not this one, the one before.
That one?
That's my number 1, and then the next
Really?
one is my number 2.
I like that one a lot. I love the green in that one.
I know, I always feel like we do so much green.
Yeah, and this one has the snow, the one you like. Is that snow? Is that what that looks
It looks like
It
ice, snow,
and
a
ice.
little bit of running water, it's
Yeah.
a combination.
Yeah. I really-
And with the year we had, I kind of figured.
Yeah, I really like the fall ones too, though. I like that one a lot. But I'm not really married to it. I'm not necessarily a fan of the first one, to be honest with you. But
Rock, paper, scissors.
I'll rock paper scissors you for the picture. I would do that. I'll turn this into a game.
I'll go with this one. This is good.
You like that one?
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. Yeah, I like it. I think the reason I like it, to be honest with you, though, is that I'm so looking forward to summer. I'm so over the cold, and that just looks warm to me.
That's a good picture.
So I really like that picture. I would vote for that picture. That one has my vote.
Sorry, Jeff, you don't get a vote. Full send.
Okay, all right. So we vote to picture on annual town report. I nominate this picture, or vote for this picture.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Let's do it.
Aye. That was easy. All right, now vote on the annual town report dedication.
So what we do on an annual basis is we look at the notable deaths of people who have worked or participated in town events. You'll see that there are 4 people that fit that category over the past couple of years. We have a couple of people that are from the school system. Bob Beavis, I also personally knew, and he did a very nice job on the Historical Commission. But I will tell you, Francis Boyd from the Board of Registrars, unfortunately, he did pass away, but he served continuously 50 years as a Board of Registrar. And I don't know, 50 years should get you something. So,
diamond?
well,
Ooh, no, is it platinum?
Gold.
Gold? No,
So-
that's not enough.
so with that said, I think all four of them are certainly worthy, but I do, my recommendation would be to choose Mr. Boyd based on his years of service to the town.
Yeah, I don't have 50 years to serve, but I appreciate the 50 years he did. So I'm in favor of Francis Boyd. What do you
Making
think?
that motion?
Oh no, I'm just expressing
good
an
with it.
opinion. I want
No,
your
no.
opinion now.
No, absolutely.
You like that
Yeah,
opinion as
yep,
well?
It works for me.
I love this. This is easy. He's just agreeing with me today. I like it. All right. So we will vote on the annual town report dedication, and I vote to have it dedicated to Frank Boyd.
And I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's done. Moving on to approve the meeting minutes of February 18th, 2026. Make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of March 11th, 2026 for review.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, vote to approve the job description for Director of Elder Services for the COA.
Yep, so this really is 1K and 2A kind of in tandem. As you are aware, unfortunately, our COA director has announced her retirement, which you'll see the letter in a moment. That's just the way the agenda is presented. But with that said, the hiring process requires that the Board of Selectmen set the final job description in pay range. We then, HR, then posts for the position, names a screening committee, goes through that process. I do a final interview with them, and then we present that final candidate to you that matches the job description and the salary range that you're looking for. So this is the first step in that process. So I am looking for a vote to approve the job description as presented.
Make a motion to approve.
Yep, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving right along. All right, communications and reports from boards, commissions, and town officials. Vote to accept Marilyn Mather's retirement as Director of Elder Services at the COA. I vote no. No, I'm kidding.
I'll second the vote to vote no.
So, this is sad. This is a bit of a sad day. She's been such an asset, I believe, to the COA, and she's got such a great facility over there, and she runs it so well. And I know that it's very well attended, and people are really proud of it in town. And I know that other people in other towns like it as well. So, I'd be sad to see her go, but I know that she is looking forward to retirement and being able to take it easy, so that's nice. So I will vote to accept Marilyn Mather's retirement as Director of Elder Services at the COA.
With reservation, I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we obviously send her.
We will send her a letter. She is just a wonderful person and an excellent department head, and she will absolutely, positively, 1,000% be missed.
Hopefully we get somebody just as good. All right, moving on. Yeah.
So,
We can.
yeah, it's 6:15.
Yeah, so let's do that. So we'll go back to the budget hearings, and we'll go with the wastewater treatment facilities and Board of Health next.
We coming up.
If you'd like. I'd like to see you.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great, yourself? Great.
Sorry about your tire out there.
Oh,
Heard
it
it
happened
pop.
there.
Oh, the
yeah.
tire. I thought you said.
Yeah, car tire popped as
Yeah.
you're pulling in the parking lot.
I hit a pothole,
Yeah.
but it finally popped when I got in the parking lot. I was like, am I going to make it? And I made it.
Yeah. So she's sitting there sad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're following on the street. Pops here. It was a nice boom.
It held out. That's pretty good. You could have been like stuck in the middle of the road. It made it to the parking lot. Well, maybe that'll be right. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Which budget are we
Who's
discussing
that?
first?
Wastewater.
Yes.
Wastewater.
That one.
So we are seeking increases in a couple of lines because we are having, the system is showing its age. It's been online since July of 2009, and we're starting to have some issues. We had an issue in January, and we had 2 issues in early February. At the fire safety, at the police and fire, we're having some blockages tracing back to the system that's behind the Council on Aging. So we had to do some emergency pumping to draw down the liquid level so we can get in there and diagnose the issues. So we are seeking we're seeking a total of $11,000 in the equipment repairs and maintenance line. Right now it's at $7,000, so that's a 57% increase. Pumping basically is going up 2 pennies a gallon. So we pumped out 42,100 gallons last August at 14.9 cents a gallon. So that was 6,400. At 2 pennies a gallon, that's going to put us over the $7,000 that we're at. Plus, we're going to be pumping out the 17,000 gallon pump chamber next fiscal year at 16.9 cents a gallon. So that'll cost an extra 2,900 and change. So we're looking at just around 10 grand in pumping costs alone. That's why I asked for $11,000, or we asked for $11,000 in that particular line item for pumping. That's line item 5243.
Yeah.
Keeping the consultant services the same, and then the equipment repairs and maintenance, we're seeking $7,500. We are down to 1 pump right now. We are operating on 1 pump, and we're having that fixed probably in the next couple of weeks or less. He got a price, and it's just under $4,000 just for 1 pump. So we have that much money left in our line item for this fiscal year. We're going to have that done.
Yep.
Any time now. So we need to replace the other pump in next fiscal year, which is going to be probably about the same.
Yeah.
So I requested just a little extra, just in case we have any other issues that arise.
Okay.
So that's why I'm requesting $7,500 in that particular line item. Again, the system's showing its age. It'll be 17 years old in August. And,
Yeah, that is a lot.
things start to age and things start to deteriorate as they get older.
Question, is this, and please, this might be out of scope, so if we're not ready to answer this, we're not ready to answer this. Is this just Band-Aids to keep this treatment facility, or is this going to be long-term fixes?
The pumps that we replace, that will be replaced either this week or next week, it's an original pump. So they, on average, pump 6,000 to 7,000 gallons a day. So do the math for 17 years. They alternate, so there's 2 pumps, they alternate the pumps.
I think it works.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
But
so
you
we got our
said
money's worth out of
entirely
it.
replacing, so
We're
it's
changing the whole
brand-
pump, yeah.
All right, yeah, okay.
The field's originalized, 17 years old.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what we're asking for in the wastewater treatment facility budget.
No, I appreciate all that information. I don't have any questions because of it, so thank you.
So that takes the police, fire, high school, library,
Ye-
what did I miss?
COA.
COA.
Yeah, and that was the issue that you just had, what was it, like last month or something?
We
There
had
was
2
the
issues in
issue
early
with that?
February and
Yeah.
1 issue in January when there was a blockage and
Yeah.
there was an issue. The fire department and the police department was offline.
Yeah, yeah.
So they had to
I
really
remember
watch
that.
their water.
Yep.
You didn't mention Howard's. Howard's on its own thing?
No, Howard's part of it.
Yeah.
Part of it, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
I
that
think busy,
whole,
busy.
yeah.
Howard Spring High School, police, fire, library, and council.
Yeah.
So everything except town hall.
Yep.
All right.
Town halls,
Yeah.
what do we discuss?
This one's aging too.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk about that another day. All right, Board of Health?
So the Board of Health budget, the elected officials, line 5110, seeking a 3% increase. And the health agent perk tests, line item number 5119, 3% increase due to contractual obligations. That's the only 2 things we're seeking raises in those 2 lines.
So I'm just curious, because I've never seen another elected board come in looking for an increase. Let's just,
You know, it's funny you mention that. I can remember years ago, we came in front of either Selectmen or the FinCom, and raises were discussed prior to our term, in front of you guys, and they were asking for raises, and I'm like, we never asked for raises. So I made a comment, and the same thing, well, if you never asked for a raise, you're never going to get one. So I think this is just kind of making up for lost time that we've had for years.
yeah, but you guys, I think you've been asking for this the last like 4 or 5 years though,
That's
right?
probably since it's been raised to the attention that we weren't
Yeah.
getting raises, and we weren't asking for raises.
Yeah, I just don't recall any other elected officials actually receiving a raise. Yeah.
Maybe don't ask.
Yeah, well, maybe they don't ask. You're right. I'm just, yeah, no. As an elected official, I don't know that I'm entirely in favor of it because I'm not asking for a raise. And again, I don't know that anybody else is asking for a raise either. So, just curious.
Okay.
Just curious. Just curious. Mike?
I was curious about the same question, but it's all right. We're not here to vote on anything today.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
That's all.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
it. Yeah, no,
Thank you
it's
very
pretty
much.
simple.
You're not voting
Pretty
on a
simple.
budget.
There wasn't much going on. We're
Not
not doing
today.
voting tonight. No, you're just presenting tonight.
Presenting them.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, folks.
You're very welcome.
Take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night. All right. CPC, Cheryl, you're up.
Hello.
Can I request a raise?
No.
You know
I mean,
what?
you can ask for whatever you want. It doesn't mean you're going to get it, right?
Cheryl is definitely deserving of one. And she is, and I will tell you that it does, if you want to do it by, take her current salary and times it by 12, 15%.
Thank you.
Oh. Is it 0 times 0?
Yep, there's a lot of zeros. Yes.
Oh. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you.
So I'm sure you took a look at the memo. It's very similar to last year. We have 2 projects that are going to be presented at town meeting. The veterans are going to continue their installation of the plaques and their research of the veterans in town cemeteries, and they've requested $5,000. And then the town clerk is going to continue with historic records preservation. So there was a question about it a while ago, and we kind of stopped it. But I think what was happening was people were saying, I need to clean the basement out, and they were sending these records off to be preserved, but then they were tossing the records. So I think everything kind of halted for a little bit, but I got a better explanation on how to do it, and it's so she requested $10,000 to continue with that project. Do you have any questions?
No, I just want to give a little backstory to the Veteran Affairs because the people that aren't
Sure.
watching. This has been an ongoing project for, I want to say, 3 years now.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been
Yes.
3 years, and the beautiful thing is it's one of the high school students takes on the project.
Nice.
The high school students takes on the project and they go around and record the data, and they bring it back, and that's where we're finding some people that are don't have gravestones marked or tagged properly, which is pretty cool.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great that the funds are there for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that the high school
100%.
students are doing it.
I love that the high school students are doing that, getting them involved and
they get real into it.
yeah,
so.
and interested in the history of it all as well. Yeah, that's
Yep.
great. That's wonderful. I love it.
And also just to remind the board that in reference to the town clerk records preservation, you'll recall that when Annie, the town clerk, was here, is that she noted that there was a substantial decrease in her budget because we pulled it out of that budget and transferred over to here.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Wonderful. I don't have any questions.
Easy.
Thank
Easy
you so
peasy.
much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
You too.
Drive safe. Moving on just in time. We're going to move on to Southeastern.
Look at that time.
Perfect timing. Good evening. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Good.
I'll just hand out a couple of
6 minutes ahead of time.
Awesome,
Loving
perfect.
this. Thank
Oh,
you.
that's good.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
Awesome, thank you. All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
If you take a look, actually, this is our FY '27 budget that was approved by our school committee. It's on the first page, or the second page, I should say. You'll see our budget summary. It's made up of our foundation budget of $40,966,418, and that comes from 2 different pots. It's state aid, $26,183,132, and our local assessment of $14,783,286. And then the second bucket that's made up of is transportation of our students, and that's $2,405,700, and that comes from $1,613,160 of state aid and $792,540 of local assessments. So what I always stop and let you know here is Transportation is supposed to be reimbursed by the state at 100%, but they have the caveat, of course, when the funds are available. And that's one thing when you see your legislature, your senators, congressmen, let them know that this is important to the town, because if that was funded at 100%, that local assessment piece would be zero. So there'd be no local assessments. So that's always very important. And then we also have our capital costs, our MSBA bond. So we've always charged $192 in local assessments. The total amount is $305,875, and the difference will come out of our E&D, our excess and deficiency, or I guess as the town calls it, the rainy day fund that we have. And then we also have $493,250, which is outside of our general fund, and that's for our ESCO payments for the new SPAC that we have, and that's at $493,250, giving us a total budget of $43,677,993 for FY27. I can answer questions as we go along, or at the end, whatever is easier for you, whatever you'd rather have. Oh, perfect. So you can see out of our $43.6 million budget, $26 million comes from the state aid, and the remaining balance comes from our 9 communities. So roughly the state covers 60% of our foundational budget that we have, and that's what we're required to spend every year, our net school spending requirements. So in enrollment, so for the town of West Bridgewater, in FY27, we saw a decrease of 11 students. So we went from 78 to 67, and that represents roughly 3.9% of our enrollment, and that's down 14.6% from the prior year.
Now, is that because and I'm sorry, I just said I
No.
wasn't going to do it, and I just did. Are they down because of the new lottery system?
No, so this was prior to the lottery.
Okay.
Our lottery just happened this past week, and I'll have some information, a little bit of information on that going forward. But this had nothing to do with the lottery. I did see that overall there was probably a decrease in town as well, I think, in enrollment for the town of West Bridgewater. So
Small, but not.
yeah, well, it's a bigger hit with the smaller amount that you have with us, but I would just presume that it's probably just less school-age children in town, or less students just chose Southeastern this year.
Yeah, or they were graduates, right, from the previous year. People. Would have
Oh, I think they were
graduated
graduates,
and
correct,
then,
yeah. But in turn, usually, you probably see
Not
the
as
freshmen
many
come
new
in,
enrollments.
exactly, yeah. So. Then on our next page, again, you'll see that out of our 1,726 students, 3.9% come from the town of West Bridgewater, and I think we just mentioned 14.6% decrease, and it's a total of 67 students. So the key part, what does that mean to your assessment? So your assessment is made up of minimum contribution, the operating costs, our net bond payment, transportation costs, and net capital costs. So West Bridgewater's assessment is at $1,035,493, and it's down $90,021 from last year for the FY27 school year.
Hold on, I'm just. Okay, I'm good. I was just trying to math. I was trying to see if is there any difference in what the amounts that the different towns pay?
So this is how every student costs the same to educate at Southeastern Regional. The difference comes in the town's property wealth and income wealth. So the town will say, or the state will say, the town of West Bridgewater can afford X. And there's some other pages as we go forward that will say how much the towns can afford for education. So basically then the state says, we're going to give X, and the town gives Y to come up with a full amount to educate those students. So so let's look at the town of West Bridgewater. You have many residents. All residents get the same services, but they all pay a different amount based on their property values for taxes, right? So all the students get the same services, but based on their town's wealth will depend on how much the state kicks in and how much the town's required to pay for that student.
Do you know where we fall approximately in your 9 towns?
We could do some math to take a look, just take if you just take enrollment divided by the assessment, but yeah, we can do some math, but definitely Brockton is the one, that pays the least amount from the city of Brockton, because obviously the economical situation and the standards and the low income that there is in the city of Brockton. That's why some people say, oh, it costs a student. It doesn't cost any less. It's just the state says that the city can afford less, and the state kicks in more.
Thank you. That was a good way of explaining it,
Thank you, yeah.
because I understood it.
that means
Well,
it's
I know in the town, and even in the city, it kind of resonates, right? Because everyone gets the same services in town, same library services, same trash pickup, everything's the same, but based on their property value, will depend on how much they pay in taxes.
That makes sense.
So again, we remain committed regardless if it's 67 students or if it's 6 students. We remain committed to, servicing all those students and giving them the best education that we can over at Southeastern Regional. And then, this again, now these slides at the end are more for informational purposes. It just shows, again, Southeastern, I like to show the one with Southeastern. The dark blue line is our actual net school spending, and the dotted line is what's required of us, so we're at that amount. Okay, we take our budget process very seriously every year. We look at what funds we're afforded, and then we look to work backwards into that so that we don't have to charge the town to the city anything additional than what we have to meet net school spending requirements. And I know you asked, how do they determine? So on those last few pages, they go over the effort goal and increments towards the goal and the town's wealth and income. And these are usually on a 2-year lag. So if your property values a couple of years ago, this is what they're basing the FY27 assessments on.
Yeah, Mark, it's difficult because you're going through a hand presentation that's different than the one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry about that.
So the one that we have preloaded based on what was sent over to us
Okay.
has a few different slides.
Oh, I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? Back up a couple.
I do
Keep on going.
have a
Keep on
question.
going. Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going.
Maybe we'll get there when there. No? Oh.
Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. Right here. So, Mike, this answers your question about what the percentage is paid by the local community and how much is paid by state aid.
Correct. So you'll see there that Brockton, the cost is $5,400 and $19,000 from state aid, where West Bridgewater, the actual cost is $13,400 and $11,530 from state aid. So the blue is what the state pays, and I mean the aid is in the red. The state is in the red, and the town's cost is in the blue.
Got it. And do you have this electronically, so we can?
I can get it to you. I don't have it with me, but
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
definitely.
Please, that way, if, in case any residents want to actually
Yeah,
see this package.
and I can leave you a couple of hard copies too if you need some extra.
It's like the Bridgewaters have the larger portions or shares. Oh no,
Well,
sorry,
yeah.
Mansfield. No, I'm
Yeah,
looking at the wrong way. I was looking at it
Norton,
backwards
yeah,
a little bit, but yeah.
Norton, Sharon,
Yeah.
Stoughton.
Yeah, no, it's just
Yeah.
Brockton. That's the opposite. Really.
And then if you want to go forward, because I think.
Yeah, so I can answer any questions. I don't know if you had a chance to visit the school or if you.
I was going to ask, I do want to visit. I know that you
Yeah.
probably have, 'cause you had your,
Oh, yes,
your
I've-
kids
yeah.
going through there.
Yeah.
But I'd love to visit, so I'd love to set up.
Yeah, let us know whenever you like. Obviously, come take advantage of our Boot and Shovel, the restaurant, open
Yeah.
to the public every day. So, great lunch. Come by. Love to take you on a little tour, maybe grab some lunch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
And then-
Got food, I'm there.
And then based on our preliminary numbers from our lottery that just happened this past week, so for the town of West Bridgewater, we had, let's see what we had here, 29 applicants that applied for a spot at Southeastern. Through the lottery, 9 of those applicants were selected through the lottery. 8 have already accepted.
Nice.
So we have still 1 we're waiting on. But if you look at FY26, there were 17 accepted applicants. So this year, even if all 9 accept, you'll be down by.
Still down.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Mark, is that 8 accepted in the 67 number, or is that?
No, that's
So it's
that's
going
not
to be
the,
67 plus 8?
plus 8 next year, correct.
So does that mean the assessment that we're seeing here is going to be different?
Again, assessment is driven by, the main factor is students, obviously. So so the number that you see is for FY28. This lottery,
The additional, I see.
correct,
That's
our
what-
FY27
got it.
budget is built on October 1st, this past October 1st numbers,
Okay.
which was 67.
All right, so the number that we see here is
Will
what I'm
be
going to
for
budget for
FY
FY '27. And
Correct.
this additional 8.
FY28,
Okay, got it.
Okay.
correct.
Thank you for clarifying.
And things could change between them. Kids could
Well, there's
accept, not come in,
Yep.
And there's some
leave,
kids
or
graduating.
transfer out.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Graduating,
correct,
so-
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's
correct,
gonna change. Might be.
yeah. If you had to say right now, it would be the 67 plus 8 with nothing changing, right? But yeah,
But we all know there's some kids.
there's something will
graduating.
always change, correct, yeah.
Some
Yeah.
kids graduating.
Yeah. Yep. I do have a question though, just because this was a very interesting slide, so I appreciate you including that. But that's a large increase of students. I mean, it's 10 years, but it's still a really large increase. So, and having just gone through, the MSBA process here with, the school vote and possibly, we had a $170 million school that the town was proposing. With the increased population or enrollment, do you guys anticipate like needing more space at some point? Like, because I mean, you're increasing significantly. Like, you're going up a lot.
Yeah, right now, we have 1,100 students that applied in our application process. We have room for 420.
Okay.
So do we need more space? Yes. We don't have more space. We're on the Hockomock Swamp. I don't know if you're, you're familiar with the school.
Very familiar.
But where we're surrounded, we can't build on another square inch
Yeah.
of where we're at right
So
now.
what is your plan for enrollment then? Like to stabilize your enrollment?
Well, it will be stabilized because, again, we have 800 students on a waiting list.
Okay.
So that's been now probably over the last 5 to 6 years, school years, we've had that high of a waiting list. We've always had a waiting list, but at this point, it's just gotten bigger, the waiting list. So our enrollment will pretty much plateau now because we're pretty much at the point where we can't.
That's what I was
Okay,
asking.
So we had, we put in the SPAC just recently. We just did a STEM edition.
Yep.
But after that, we literally have no place, unless we want to build upwards.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that would just be a disruption to school because we don't have a place to put the students if we were to do that. Again, when we went through the MSBA project, we actually wanted to build in the back part of the property, a new school.
Where the fields are?
Correct,
Yeah.
and have the school where we are currently become fields. But because of the Hockomock Swamp, we couldn't do that.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
limited.
Yeah.
We're landlocked right now, unless we were to move locations, physically
Yeah.
move locations.
Yeah, I'm just concerned because, that would, impact us significantly if you
it's-
needed to build an addition or something
no,
like that. So I'm really curious just about,
And we're very sensitive.
controlling the
Yeah, we're
enrollment.
very sensitive to that as well,
Yeah.
like to the towns,
Okay.
because we know that obviously if you took 800 more students,
Yeah,
that could hurt
that impacts
the town.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's pretty much the top right here. This is,
Again, we just did the STEM edition, so we're probably looking at maybe an additional 18, so we might go from
Yeah.
420 to 438.
Yep.
And that's literally, again, with the new edition.
But that's
now.
capacity.
That's
Like, that's where you're gonna be.
capacity, exactly.
Okay, all right. I'm just wondering, like, years down the road, you know what I mean? I know that
Yeah.
this year it seems to be, the
Yeah,
numbers
this,
are-
again, unless something was to come to fruition where we'd move, switch locations or be able to build a bigger location, or the state came up with some type of priority to, educate or get vocational education to the forefront. Again, because I understand, but we have 800 students that want vocational education.
Yeah.
That can't get a vocational education
Yeah.
right now.
No, I understand the need.
Yeah.
Again, my older son, he only went for his freshman year. He changed his mind.
Yeah.
He came back to West Bridgewater. But my younger son right now, he's a junior at Southeastern. He's in the criminal, what is it?
Criminal justice,
and, yeah,
legal and
legal and
protective,
protective services. And he loves it. And I think
Yeah.
it's a great school. It's a great facility. I wish everybody who wanted to attend could attend. So I love what you guys do. You guys are fantastic. I'm just concerned about the impact on our town if you just keep, enrolling. So
No,
that
and-
was my question.
And just so you know, these numbers, especially now with enrollment, with being in a lottery, these numbers can fluctuate from year to year. Being a lot, again, it's exactly what it is. It's a lottery.
Yeah.
So if you end up having 100 students apply from West Bridgewater, there's a possibility all 100 could get in.
And that concerns us
And
as
there's
well.
a possibility that 0 could get in, right,
Yeah.
with a lottery.
Yeah.
Where in the past, we had a little control
Yeah.
of that process, but now it's been all taken away from us.
Yep. And you guys have no control over the lottery. Like, how does that process work exactly? Like,
So right now, you can get up to 3 lottery tickets, let's say, in the lottery. If you apply,
you.
the student gets a lottery ticket. If you have 27 unexcused or fewer absences, you can get a second chance in middle school.
27 unexcused?
Excused or less.
So what is the reasoning behind, like, why would it be specifically unexcused? Like,
'Cause again, if it was an excuse, or if you were sick or you had to go to a funeral, there are some.
but why do you get
excuse-
27 unexcused?
Well, that's the number the state
Yeah.
decided.
Oh, so the
The
state-
this is all decided by the state.
Yeah.
20, the number's 27. If they have 27 or less unexcused absences, they get a second chance. And if they want to do an interview or a video or something just to show interest in the vocational education, they'd get a third opportunity.
Interesting. And then from there, all of those tickets go into a bucket.
Well, per se, a bucket. So we have a company that comes in, assigns every student a number, and then based on how many chances they have, they get either 1 to 3 numbers, and then it's put into an electronic program, and it randomizes and picks the numbers. And then it puts it picks everyone gets a number. So just in case someone's on a waiting list and someone decides not to accept, then we just go to the next person on that list.
Okay. Yeah. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of the lottery system. I hope that somebody looks at that and
Yeah, again,
reevaluates that. at
we went
some
through the
point.
process with the state. We did definitely all vocational schools. Everyone was very concerned. We shared that with the state. Unfortunately, this was their decision. Again, I think it's very important. Being absent from school is obviously important, no matter whether it's comprehensive or vocational. But if you're going into the workforce right from high school, you can't be absent in the workforce. So it's one of those things where, what kind of message are we sending if, if absences aren't counted? And then if students do very well in school and they have the same opportunity as someone else, again, there's some questions there, right? But right now that's what the state's decided, and we're here to
Doing.
follow the rules.
Yep, yep. And just one more question. With your lottery, I meant to watch the video because it looks like it was on YouTube.
Yeah. And it's still there if you.
Yeah,
If you-
I'll watch
all
it.
15 minutes of it.
But you're going to answer my question for me, I'm sure. Were there any surprises? Like you just said, like 100 students could enroll or apply from West Bridgewater, and all 100 could get picked. Were there
Yeah,
any?
we didn't have anything to that extent, but we did have the town of Norton,
Yeah.
where they usually have, town of Sharon usually have about 6 to 7 students. So this year they have about 18.
Wow.
So,
Well, all right.
it's-
Well, that answers that then.
again, it could happen, right?
Yeah.
But,
Is that because their enrollment was up, or is that?
No, just there were more applicants, and through the
So
the lottery.
So it was a combination, more applicants plus.
the lottery, a little bit of the luck, right?
Yeah.
As you can see in yours, you had 29 this past year, and right now you have 17. So you have 29 this year, and it's 29 that were, 29 students applied this year. 9 were selected through the lottery process, and 8 have accepted. But again, if all 9 accept, you'll have 9. Where this past year, FY26, you had 17 students from West Bridgewater. So
And do you remember how many applicants we had last year?
I don't remember how many applicants.
I just want to see what.
The ratio. I can get that for you,
Yeah.
though, but yeah.
Well, I'll see you soon.
Awesome. Again,
All right.
let me know, please.
It sounded like a threat, but it wasn't.
No. It's lunch. But,
I think I've asked all of my questions. David, did you have any questions?
No,
Or
but I can
Mike,
personally
anything?
tell you, they do an excellent job doing a tour, and the lunch is fantastic, so I highly recommend it.
I'm in.
awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. All right. Have a good night.
You too,
Thank
drive safe.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right. Well, looks like we're a little bit early here. So, do you want to touch on before the school gets here? We can go to the town administrator's report and see how much we can get through there.
Sure. So we will go to the swap agreement. So you'll recall that with the Lincoln Street project, we need to do a land swap. There was an original agreement. It got extended once, then it got extended twice. The hope was that we'd be able to finish it in early March. Of course, nobody could have known in December that it was going to be 3 feet of snow, and they can't obviously work on the roads when there's that much snow. So this is asking, the attorneys have all met, town council has met, everybody has agreed to doing an additional extension to May 15th. So I will ask the board to approve it as presented.
All right. Make a motion to approve the swap agreement for the 3rd time as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Third time.
Thank you. A couple of requests, as they normally come in for toll roads or for the youth football. And then skipping down to D is discussion on next steps in reference to reorganization of the water department. Again, I placed this in the agenda just so you could see as to what the requirements to the state process. Next slide is what would actually go to town meeting in reference to the home rule petition. What the board does need to do is that you'll see in the middle of the page in section 8 is that I'm assuming that the board would like to keep it as is, meaning that we currently have 3 commissioners, that we would retain 3 commissioners. They currently serve 3-year terms. We would retain those as 3-year terms. In year 1, though, we would have to have it staggered. So one would be 1 year, one would be 2 years, one would be 3 years, and then after their term, so it would flip to a 3-year term, and it would be appointed by the board. That's the language that I need the board to vote on, and if you're okay with that recommendation, that's what I would implement. And if you want different language, then we would implement that. On top of that, what I would like to do is that the Water Commissioners had a joint meeting with you back in November and had discussed this, agreed to it, but once we put that language in, I would like to send it over to the Water Department, have them review and vote on it as well. it would then come back to you, so that way in April, when you're placing your warrant articles on, we know that the water department has already reviewed it as well.
So question, if we were to go into this change, right, going into that first year, wouldn't just the person that was due for the 3-year, or let's say if it's uncontested, wouldn't he be the one that's the 3 years and the other 2 remain the same? Is there any way to add that language?
So.
Or we'd have to revamp the whole thing?
No, I think that what we could do is that, again, I'm looking for final clarification from town council on that, because when you're elected, you're in the seat.
Yeah.
Right? So, but this here will, in my understanding is, will supersede that because the town is voting on it. So I think I'm waiting for town council to give me that final, his final thoughts on it. But I guess it's really a matter of what you want as the board. If the board says these 3 people have already been elected, and then we will appoint as those seats come due, let's put that in the language.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Because they're already there.
Yeah, and they were elected.
They're already
Yeah.
there, they were elected by the
Yeah.
people of the town. I think it's important to keep that same energy.
Yeah.
So the appointment would be made at the expiration of said term.
Yeah, the current term. Yeah, and, to be completely honest, again, we have a lot of trouble getting volunteers to be on boards, whether elected or appointed. We thank everybody here. So, if they all happen to be gentlemen right now, but so if these gentlemen, want to be appointed at some point after their elected term, that would be wonderful, but
We don't give them a choice, we just do it.
yeah. Don't ask them, just appoint them. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm fine with
Instead of a
that.
letter.
But I'm fine with the language as well.
So you're good, we would retain 3 commissioner seats and we return at 3-year terms.
Yep.
Okay, all right, then that's what we'll do.
Well, barring whatever town council says.
Yeah,
is right or
exactly.
wrong.
Yep,
Yeah.
but I will have that conversation with him immediately because I want to forward this over to the water department.
Perfect.
Yep, great.
Then Board of Selectmen meetings. So I placed this in just because I think sometimes visually it's helpful. Currently, you are scheduled for the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays as normal, so it'd be the 1st and the 15th. We will be voting on the budget. Tonight is actually, I'll say this in a moment, but tonight is actually your last budget hearing. So after tonight, you have heard from every single department head, and you have heard from every single budget. We will be voting, or you will be voting on your budget. We'll spend the next couple of weeks condensing it, putting it together, providing you that budget on the 1st for you to vote on it. Then normally on the 15th, we would meet again. However, based on some scheduling issues, is that I'm looking to see if we can do it on the 22nd, is when you would actually place the warrant articles and vote on the recommendations that night. And then once you do it, the Finance Committee, some members are in the room. They are currently scheduled to meet on Thursday the 16th, so I'll have to ask them to meet on Thursday the 23rd, because they'll have to obviously review what you approve. But if you're okay with that, I would like to make that switch. And then in May, you're currently scheduled again, as is customary, the 1st and the 3rd. We would meet on the 6th, and that date is important because town meeting will be on the 11th, and you always want to meet prior to, just in case there's any last minute things. And I think, in case there's any other items. And then because of another conflict, I think the request would be to cancel the 20th. And if we need to vote, if we need to have a meeting on the 27th or some other time during May, then we'll just call one.
Yep.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm
We need a
good with
vote on
that.
Yeah, I would ask you to take a vote, so if you could take the vote 1 to cancel the May 20th meeting, and then to move the April 15th meeting to April 22nd.
Make a motion to cancel the May 20th meeting, and then, I'm so sorry, what was the other
That's
one?
okay.
April,
Go to show April. And then move the 15th to the 22nd.
and move the meeting from the 15th to April, or April 15th to April 22nd.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. Easy.
So thank you. And again, the last budget for you will hear is the school. They were to be here at 6:45, so they're in the hall? Okay, so we'll get them, and then that'll be your last budget hearing for the budget season.
You want to say next meeting? April 1st.
The next meeting will be April 1st.
I think we just voted on that.
Adjourn.
Yeah, let's go. Let's sneak out the back. I'm gonna do public comment.
Page
period.
number?
31? I think.
Wherever. Wherever. Wherever you're feeling cozy. Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello. Whenever you guys are ready.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right, well, thank you very much for having us. We do have some slides, only 11, kind of down from years past, so, but of course, any questions you have, we're certainly happy to answer them after. All right, so the next slide just shows our overall total school budget, so that is what we need for complete operation of the school system, the $22 million. What we're asking for from the town is the $19.5 million, which shows an increase of $916,949, which is a 4.93% increase over FY26. So of the school contributions, which makes up about 16% of our total budget, just over $3 million. Consistently, this makes up school choice, circuit breaker, special education grants, and our revolving funds. We did decide to keep our school choice at the same number this year, 1.2 million. Part of that was due to our senior class having a smaller number of school choice than they have in the past, so that's going to help us fill in those other spots. And we also want to make sure we were as responsible as we could by supporting the overall school budget through school contributions. Circuit breaker is the amount of money we get back from the state that's over a certain threshold at up to 75%. And then the grants and the revolving accounts are pretty consistent from what we had in the years past. Next shows our 4-year decline in the amount of money we've asked or requested from the town, which comes out to about 37% decrease over the past 4 years. So hopefully we're trending in the right direction in terms of what we're asking the town for funding. As always, special education are our neediest students, and we need to make sure we have placements for them that fit their needs in the least restrictive environment. So about 1% of our student population are in our district placements, and that equates to about 13% of our overall budget. And that's a pretty consistent number. In terms of categories, so we have out-of-district tuition, which, at the higher end is going to definitely be our residential programs, collaborative programs for day students, and transportation across the state is really is kind of a little bit out of control in terms of what we're paying per student for transportation. And we are responsible for students from the age of 3 to 22.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I
Yes.
just keep exploding? Can you just break down, I think I know what it means, but I just want to get a better understanding. What does out-of-district tuition mean?
So that's a tuition that we'll pay to private schools to educate students, or
To send students from West Bridgewater?
correct.
Special education
Yeah, special
schools,
education
yeah.
students.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Yep, just wanted to.
No, it's a
Yep.
good question. Sorry for not
And then-
clarifying that.
And then transportation, because Southeastern was just here, and they did just mention that it is reimbursed by the state for Southeastern, that they do request the money up front and then they get a reimbursement. Is that the same here or it's not?
No, unfortunately not.
That's a shame.
It is.
No, but what he was saying was, it's by law, it's supposed to be reimbursed, and they are not.
And they don't. Every time, and the only reason that they get it reimbursed is they gotta go stand on somebody's desk to get their money back, basically.
Yeah, the law says is that on vocational schools or regional schools, it is supposed to be paid for, but it's subject to appropriation. The legislature has not appropriated it in at least the 15 years I've been doing it. So that's what Mark's argument is that although it's a requirement of the law, they don't fulfill the law. So we end up getting charged the transportation as an assessment. That's why there's an additional assessment block per town. So we get charged an assessment. His argument is we need to speak to our state delegation because we should not be paying them.
And something else that's in legislation now is circuit breaker. Circuit breaker is funded up to 75%. MASS is looking to fund it up to 90%. So that would be about $150,000 more to the district that we could put into school contributions.
If they ever
get up to
Yeah.
90%.
And that 150 is specific to us, or?
Just on our reimbursement we get now. Yeah, looking at those numbers from last year.
Thank
In terms of our student population, so high needs is defined by DESE as students who fall into certain categories, so special education, our English language learners, and our economically disadvantaged or low-income students. So over the past 10 years, we've seen a fairly significant increase of 11.5% in our high needs students, so 24.1% up to 35.6%. So these are our students that are requiring a higher level of service, and a lot of our ads over the years have been to address the high needs population.
And is that West Bridgewater population?
That
goes
is-
in that? Like,
yes.
Not our school choice. Kids aren't factoring into that. Is that all just West Bridgewater population?
That's all the students who attend our school.
Oh,
So it does
so-
include school choice as well.
Okay.
It includes all students, yes.
Okay.
you. No, there's no way, I don't know the right way of asking this. I just drive around town and it's just, I speak Spanish, right? And I was this ESL student in school growing up, and I've gotten my English down pretty good over the years, I guess. But are these students that with ESL, are they in town, or is there any way of determining that? Are they school choice?
I would say a high majority of our EL students are all residents.
They're residents?
Yep. A high majority. I don't know a number, but I know 12.9% is the number that's given to us by the state.
Yeah, I think my question, or my curiosity, is just around if we've had such a high increase to the budgets and staffing to accommodate special needs or high needs students. I'm just trying to figure out, like in my head, how do we determine if school choice is bringing in that higher need population, which is then driving West Bridgewater to have to hire more staff or provide more services. And that I think is a little bit of a concern for me, because you can't tell me that, right? Like, we don't know if we're just bringing in people, or students rather, right, that need more services that we can provide, and then we're paying to provide services to non-residents.
Okay.
So
I mean, I think
that's a
there's-
concern, I think.
I think there is a increase in the state as well, not as high as our increase, but I think it's a growing issue across the entire state. So I think you may see a pretty equivalent change. I don't think it's related to school choice, but we can certainly look into that.
I just wonder what the impact is from school
Yeah, no, I
choice.
understand the question.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any way for us to extract that data.
We'd have to look at how they're coded in Sims and look at it.
Yeah.
Just because with the economy the way that it is now, right? Like, nobody's hiring. People are laying off. Like, we have serious issues in the country, in the state, and in this community and surrounding communities. And I feel like we're providing more services, which is wonderful. I love the idea of providing more services and having what everybody needs. But I feel like there may be, or I'm concerned that there may be a large impact on the town that's not being repaid, kind of, like, right? Like, not that the residents in town are, paying more when their child is high needs, but that we get a fixed amount from school choice children, but if we're spending more to accommodate those specific children, that's a concern, I think.
Yeah, we'll see if we can pull the data. There's nothing,
Yeah.
honestly, that stands out as red flags in that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we can't check the data and see if that's, if there's correlations.
And if a student is high needs in terms of special ed,
Mhm.
we do get an additional amount for school choice.
Okay.
So that's why if you do the math, 230 school choice children times $5,000 isn't 1.2 million.
Okay.
It's like 1,150,000.
Okay.
And so the extra 50,000 is what we estimate we may receive for additional special needs.
Okay. All right.
So
And
it
is
helps some.
that a flat amount, or is
No,
it dependent on the need?
It depends on
Okay.
the need.
All right. Thank you.
Please,
Good
the
question.
questions are because the pencil needs to get sharpened somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm a product of English as a second language. I'm a product of it, you know what I mean? And it did me all right.
No, it did. No, they're all good questions, so we'll
Yeah.
get information on
Yeah, I mean, if they're all, residents, then they're all residents. My concern is just, you know what I mean, just trying to balance it all out, basically, and
And then
be
I'm
fair
sure
to
we have
everybody.
students that fall under all those
Yeah.
categories
Yeah.
that come in through choice, and then it's just what's that percentage compared to our
Yeah.
West Bridgewater resident population.
Yeah, no, thank you.
You're welcome. And in terms of cost control, ways we've tried to help our budget is through our sub-separate programs or our comprehensive learning programs. So we have established CLPs in each of the schools, so it's a sub-separate program that meets the needs of students, so we don't have to send them out of district. So there is an upfront cost in terms of staffing, but it would be dwarfed by the amount of money we'd spend in tuition and transportation if we had to send students out. So again, our goal is to get them in the least restrictive environment. So we're in district rather than out of district, and to reduce costs throughout the year. So we think we have done that, and saving. And I think that's kind of a conservative estimate of about $750,000 year to year.
Do you have any examples of that?
Sure. I can't get too in-depth in terms of identifying students, but I think we've established programs at each elementary schools that we couldn't, without these programs, we couldn't meet the needs of the students in district. Whether they are high-functioning autism or other things, we're able to staff them appropriately so they can stay in district. So again, like most school budgets, over 80% of school budgets support staff and student services. So our instructional staff, our teachers, special education support staff, student services, which are special education programs, our EL services, and again, student support, OT, PT, things like that. And then we have operational costs, transportation, utilities, and in our facilities, and we have programming, curriculum materials, technology, and our academic programs. So we're keeping students in district, improve services while reducing the reliance on expensive out-of-district placement. So again, putting the money into our programs is going to help us save money on the other end. And in terms of district need, we don't have a lot of extras. We have specialized roles, so we have teachers who are, their job is to teach special education students. Our EL teachers, same thing, and then our related services and our behavior specialists work directly with those students that require specific certifications and licenses. We have students who have mandated number of minutes on their IEPs for speech, OT, PT, adaptive phys ed. And they have to be delivered by a quality personnel. That's why we're looking to add certain people, again, so we can meet the needs of our students. And we're looking to, any kind of increases in staff. Again, most of them have been through student needs, but some are through enrollment, and those have been year after year. We're looking at potentially adding a teacher or reducing a teacher in terms of classroom teachers. And reassigning funds where we can find to other places. And I think the financial pressures, has been mentioned, we're predicting a more decline in our school choice enrollment and changes in the district enrollment patterns. And we know that we've had growth of student needs up 11.5%. increase in our high needs population, and we know operational costs, transportation, utilities, and contractual obligations continue to go up. So we want to try to balance all of that to, again, meet the needs of our students, while balancing the needs and then the revenue going down. And again, just the increase in our budget maintains the core educational services. We do have some adds to our budget, and we feel that they are, again, need-based for our students and our school community. So, open to any questions.
Okay. Mike, do you have anything, or David, either one of you?
Can you go in a little bit, you just touched on ads. Could you go in a little bit more depth in the ads?
Sure.
Would you switch to the page that that Mark sent over I think page 83.
So,
Mark, is this
oh,
helpful?
perfect.
Yeah, this is what
thank
you sent over earlier,
Yes.
so we incorporated it.
Thank you.
Is that in ours?
It should be page 80.
Yep.
83?
65.
Correct.
That's why I was like, I don't see nothing.
So our first one we have listed is a 0.5 floating nurse in the district. Primarily, they'll be at the Roselle McDonald. Next year, we'll have 5 type 1 diabetic students. So the needs in terms of time, they require about 45 minutes a day.
I just want to pause you real
Yep.
quick, going back to the floating nurse. That
Yes.
person would be, you said, primarily at
Roselle
Roselle?
McDonald. Yep.
Okay. So I think I saw something, I can't remember exactly where, maybe it was a capital budget stuff, that said that would be it said surround care, is that?
So right now, by law, we're required to provide nursing services for students if they are unable to care for themselves. So through the surround care budget, we do pay for a nurse.
Just force the surround care
Just for the
hours.
surround care hours.
It's now mandated that you have a registered nurse
Uh-huh.
available for
The after-school
particular
program or
time.
before-school
Yes.
program.
So that's considered a school program. So we do hire a nurse for after school.
Okay, and so that's what this
No.
person would be
No.
doing now?
No, this would be
is totally
separate.
separate.
Yeah.
Okay, so it said floating, but primarily at Roselle and?
Correct.
Okay.
Again, due to the higher needs there, but there are some statistics there that show how many visits each health office gets per day. The needs are growing. Julie Diedrichson, our lead nurse, spoke at the last school committee meeting, saying, I think in all of her years, and I forget the number of years, she said had 7 diabetics, I think, during that time, and we'll have 5 next year. So just the level of need that they have, plus the needs of all students. And even at the middle senior high school, we have 1 full-time nurse for 630 kids right now. So having someone that could float between the buildings, this person would be every day, and we'd pick the most needy times, so probably middle of the day, that they would come in, probably about 3 hours a day. Occupational therapists, so we are again seeing a high need for more OT. Right now, we have 1.4 OT staff in the district, showing the evaluations have increased over the past 3 years. We're estimating about 50 evaluations through the end of the year. Evaluations are not only time consuming, but if we cannot do them in district, then they would have to be sent out to a collaborative program where we'll be paying for them anyhow. So again, meeting the needs of our students. In terms of last year in our budget, we had 30.5 instructional assistants. That's through the entire district, not just at the elementary level. And next year, in this year's budget, we're looking at 31.5. We had to add one last year due to the needs of our students. So it's, again, we have instructional assistants that are in our kindergarten classrooms, our 4 kindergarten classrooms. They are in their inclusion classrooms, and they're in sub-separate programs. So we have 125 students, pre-K to 6 with IEPs, and 18 different classrooms that require inclusion support. Again, some are requiring one-to-one or enhanced staff as well. So add on the 4 all to the 4 kindergarten, and then the high school, which they vary, but there's I think we have 4 up there right now.
Before we go to the next slide, could you help me understand the occupational therapist and the evaluation cost, and then how many students are we sending out currently for evaluation costs?
We have not sent any out this year, as far as I know. It's only when they get backed up. There's a time period that they, once they submit the paperwork, there's a, I think it's a 45-day,
30 days.
30 days,
Yeah,
right?
there's been changes that have come down from DESI, so all of the testing needs to be done within 30 days now. So if you have, say, OT has more than 2 or 3 consents, then, or it's a consent meaning a consent to test, so the parents sign off on it. As soon as they sign, it's 30 days to get that done. So if they have more than a handful at a time, then it's going to be sent out because they don't have enough hours in the day to do it.
And the outside evaluation
Yes.
process would be, we're paying for someone to do the evaluation and then do the write-up and then attend the meeting.
Right, so with these changes, we're looking at potentially an increase per student going out, which is.
No, we're looking to,
If, currently, right now, with these DESI changes.
If we don't add a staff.
Yes, yeah, and so just to clarify, it's an outside evaluation, so the students don't actually go out, like they're still receiving their education.
The person
but-
comes in.
Right, yeah, so another person would come in and do the assessment.
And is that per student or when they're here? Like they're here for an hour, they do.
the evaluation will take a
Yeah.
more significant, more longer than an hour. It'll take a couple hours, but then they have to do the scoring and the writing up and so forth.
Yeah, it usually takes anywhere from 5 to 10 hours realistically to do all of the hands-on plus all of the report writing for one student.
Okay.
Our goal would be to not have outside evaluations with an additional staff, or limit that. That's just really just to show if we got to a point where we needed more evaluations outside, it would be an additional cost to the district.
When was the last time we sent somebody out for out of district or for the outsourcing the evaluations? When's the last time you think we had to do that?
What Robin just mentioned was the fact that there's some of these
It's a
requirements are new.
yeah. When
Yeah.
is the last time though that we did have to send
I'd have to
somebody
check
out?
with Kathy Marble to be sure. Yeah.
So it doesn't happen
No,
that
I
frequently, at least.
Do you know when I was signing the warrant, I signed off on a couple last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I-
it's definitely happened over the past few years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then it's 1,700. So I know you just said a couple. I'm not holding
Yeah,
you
yeah,
to that
it's-
number or
I can
anything,
remember.
but $1,700 times 2. You know what I mean? So I mean that's not that's significantly less than hiring somebody. I would say though.
No, we're
right?
only adding 0.4 to an existing staff. So that would, the net cost with some other reorganization is $12,668.
Still less.
Still significantly
Still
less.
Yep.
Yeah.
Significantly less
Yeah.
than sending out for the evaluations.
But what the 0.4 increase gives us is for someone who comes in now 2 days a week to 4 days a week, which is significant in terms of meeting the time requirements on the IEPs.
So we also, so we have an existing person who's here, 0.4.
Yeah, you're just adding time.
We want to add 0.4 to them, so they
Yeah.
can both service the students and do the evaluations.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just saying that $3,400 is still less than 12,000.
Right, but it
Okay.
doesn't make up for the
Yeah.
difference in terms of time they're meeting with students and availability. Again, when you only have 1.4 OTs that are servicing 4 schools, it becomes difficult to schedule.
And we can find out exactly how many have gone. that we
I mean, it
had
would
to
be helpful.
send out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because if we're doing numbers, right? So like, we should know what we're spending versus what we could save if you know what I mean. So, yeah.
Just a quick question, Robin. Did you say there's a DESI change in the amount of days?
So technically, there has been no change. It's been DESI's interpretation of the law. So it's always been that you have to have the testing done within 30 days, and then you have to meet with the family by 45. But now DESI is saying that's not actually what we meant. You have to have the testing done within 30 and meet and have the IEP out in 5 days. So that bumps the entire timeline back by 10 days, which is pretty significant.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
The spirit of my question, and I've already had a meeting with my department heads, is that I really want us to identify going forward unfunded state mandates.
Yeah.
Because we don't do a good job at our level and across the
Yeah.
state.
I would agree.
And when we get these, we are supposed to file with the Inspector General's office, and then we are supposed to get reimbursed. But most of us do not. We just hire because we say we need to, and we don't actually document, send, and argue for it. And that's what the spirit of my question,
Yeah.
because if this is a legitimate state mandate, and we are hiring, well, adding 4.4 hours, but if we're incurring additional labor cost as a result directly to that, then that is the very definition of a reimbursable state unfunded mandate.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. Next page, at the Howard School, looking at a .6 reading specialist. Only .4 of it would go into our general fund, .2 of it would be funded through Title I services. So again, trying to use federal money rather than district money. And there is a need. And you look at our 69% of students in grades 4 and 5 only partially meeting or not meeting MCAS expectations. So those are the two lowest categories. 36% of students below benchmark on our district reading assessments. And then you see the number of students who are currently receiving assistance from a reading specialist at the Roselle McDonald and receiving Title I services K-6. So we do have a reading specialist in the Roselle, so grades 1 to 3, and then we have nothing from grades 4 to 6. And again, that's an area that we have traditionally been very understaffed in terms of having someone that can deliver that Tier 2 interventions to students who are our most needy, so therefore they're prepared when they get up into the middle school and for success in the high school.
Yep. Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
At the middle senior high school, our music program is growing. Right now, we have 2.5 positions for the entire middle senior high school, so grades 7 to 12. We have seen an increase in course signups over last year and previous years of 19%. We've seen our middle school and high school chorus enrollment double over the last 3 years, and we've seen an increase in the enrollment in the courses. Again, scheduling courses with a small number of staff is difficult because there's become singletons where they're trying to match up, a music class with an AP class with something else, and they may all only be offered one block. So it takes a lot of juggling. This gives us more opportunity in terms of an ad for small money, in terms of $12,000 is what it would equal, and it gives kids in the arts more opportunities and helps grow the program. This position at one point was 1.0 about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's dropped down to save some money, and the enrollment numbers. So the enrollment numbers are there. We feel it's justified to look to increase it up 0.2. And then in terms of instructional technology, 4 years ago we had a library media specialist in the position. The person left, we were unable to fill the position. It is a NEASC accreditation expectation to have someone in that position. We were last evaluated in 2020. We'll be evaluated officially. They'll come for a visit in 2030. We started a self-evaluation in 2028. I think it's a position that would benefit our students. Teaching a middle school exploratory, digital literacy is very important. So it could be a middle school 7th and or 8th or both. And it would provide opportunities for professional development and coaching for our teachers with all things AI and instructional technology. It's a go-to person, not only at the middle senior high school, but for the entire district.
So if I understand it, so when that position was eliminated a number of years ago, there was somebody else hired at that time, correct?
So we moved the position down to a 0.5. At that point, 3 years ago, the cable committee was generous and helped us out by supporting a TV production teacher because we were going down to only 4 sections of TV production. So that allowed us a full-time person to go along there. And then we continued to only budget a half-time position over the next 3 years.
But you didn't fill the position.
No, we filled half that position and then it went into the budget as half-time.
Okay.
But we left it, we made that decision based on enrollment numbers in TV production, and we would get the most bang for our buck for a teacher.
Did you see enrollment drops in any other programs where you could maybe cut somewhere?
Not in our electives. I mean, we're pretty, pretty full in most of the electives. In terms of the 1.0, or are you talking about the 0.2?
The 1.0.
No, I think this position would be a teaching position, but it would also be someone who is going to be going into classrooms, assisting staff, and they'll be bringing kids into the library, to work in there. I mean, it's definitely something we'll need to address for NEASC, but I think it's just best practice. Most districts have some kind of, library media specialist. We don't have anyone in the district. We have one instructional technology director, but that's it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why it took 3 years to if it's something that we're required to have, right? Then why have we waited this long to fill that position?
It's a good question. We saw other needs, or we didn't want to increase the budget at that time.
Okay.
We wanted to, out of respect for not trying to increase too much, we said, we can hold off. And honestly, really with the boom of AI and all the resources our teachers are needing, it's really become time.
Yeah.
I just want to interject on that because I just want to make sure that position was funded. When you didn't hire someone, that money had to be repurposed elsewhere. So when you say, well, we didn't want to increase the budget because we didn't want to fill it, you just repurpose the money elsewhere. That's why it becomes an ad now.
Correct.
But at that time, it was not, you didn't want to add someone, you just moved the money elsewhere.
Correct. So
You had to.
we couldn't find someone to fill that position, so we added the TV production teacher.
But my point is, if it was in the budget specifically for that, wouldn't it just fall to the bottom line and get returned to the town?
No, because we've put into teaching services.
Correct, you repurposed it elsewhere. So, I
It's
guess I'm
only
just,
always- So I think some of the confusion, David, is that we left that TV production half-time position, because half is paid for by the cable commission, in the library line, as opposed to zeroing out the library media specialist line in our budgets and moving the half-time to teaching services. I mean, I just didn't do that. I just left it in that line.
No, I
I
understand
was
that.
slightly confused. Library media special, media. So we have not budgeted full-time for a position and only filled half of it. So it's not like there's money to drop down each time. The original year that we had budgeted full-time for a library media specialist, and then they left after budget, and we could not fill that position, I believe that's the point that we were able to do half-time with the TV person, half of it paid for by cable. So theoretically, there was probably $25,000 left from that line, and yes, it filled in gaps, not hiring people, but under budgeted areas.
Yep, no,
and
I
the
followed
rest.
everything
So
that you
that's
said.
kind of how, so that's why people may be a little bit misled by
No,
the line item that was left in.
no, I fully understand what you're saying. I guess to put some numbers to it, I'm making up some numbers, I know that. But 4 years ago, that position was funded at $50,000 and it was not filled. The money was repurposed elsewhere. Now you're coming in and saying, I'm going to spend $50,000 to hire this person. That's a double. Because the $50,000
But-
matriculated throughout the budget somewhere.
Only half of it.
Okay, half of
We-
it.
Yeah,
But somehow it's
25,
still
but it's about
matriculated through the budget.
25,000.
So-
Right, and most probably for repairs we didn't expect, or, places we under budgeted. I don't know exactly where, because we're bottom line,
Mhm.
so, but as soon as we couldn't fill that position in the next budget round, we only budgeted a half-time salary.
Yep, I'm
So,
following.
so there's not another, hidden, let's say, 30,000
No, I'm-
throughout it.
I'm following.
Okay.
And the result of if we put that money back towards this position, then at the middle senior high school level, we'd only have 4 courses in TV production.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So we would not have the TV production
Right.
person.
Yes.
If,
Which,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
a lot of money
yeah.
was invested
Yeah.
into
Because
that.
that was
Okay.
2 hires, right?
Yep.
Like this is 2 hires for the one. Like we had the media specialist, they left, we couldn't hire, and then didn't hire,
Right.
and then didn't see the need to hire, right? Because
Right.
there wasn't a need, and now there's a need, and it's our accreditation, and everything's based on it. But we've already hired somebody else, so it's 2
Half
hires.
time, it's 1.5.
Okay, 1.5, but like 1.5
Well,
for the
a
one
half.
that we already had. So now we have an additional.
Correct. So if we didn't,
Yeah.
if we didn't have this
A half.
position, then again, we'd have 2 middle school classes for TV, and in the entire high school, 2 TV production classes. So I think that'd be a lot of, wasted resources from that TV studio to only offer 2 high school classes. So,
No, I get it. And listen, as a parent, I want my kids to have the best of everything and teachers for everything and all, everything at their fingertips. I have questions about the hiring just because it's a concern, right? Like nobody else is hiring. Nobody else is hiring. People are laying off. Like we're the only ones coming in and we're looking for 6.5 positions. Well, I mean, there's 6, there's a custodial in there, but it's not on here. But like there's 6 additions, whether it's a 0.6, a 0.2, a 1, whatever it is.
6 isn't accurate though, it's 3.5, I think.
I don't mean total. I'm saying there's
Oh, yeah.
6 different categories here you're hiring or adding time to a current employee for, right? So you're adding 6, not a total of 6 people
Not
or
6
6
FTE.
people.
Right.
Exactly.
6
Thank
positions.
you.
Yep.
Yes. So it's 6.5 actually. There's 1 missing from here. But so we're hiring. We're adding. Like, and that's my concern is that I want my children to have everything that we can give them, but if we can't afford it, that's, we have our limitations. I want the best of everything, but I can't afford
Well,
it.
he's also meeting the needs of our kids in terms of reading.
But the needs have been there
OT.
for like 4 years, you said. Like
Well,
for
you're
the
talking
media
specifically media
specialist, for
specialists.
instance.
Yep.
Yeah.
That we have gone without, that is for
Yeah.
sure.
I just want to say, I think it's important to know, and I think that the energy coming is mainly because we're drilling down on this the way we're drilling down on it is mainly because across the board, as a town, we're not hiring more people across the town. We've made it very clear to all the department heads about hiring personnel. And that's why we're drilling down on what the needs are specifically. So, and I know there's a lot of energy for it, and that's why we're drilling. Like,
Sure,
it's
understandable.
like we're not hiring. The towns around us are laying off, especially the schools. So we are hyper focused on ensuring that we're doing the right thing, and there's doing the right thing, and then there's also being fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
So I know somebody has a lot of energy, and some people might get upset about a lot of the questions, but the intent's right. It's pure. Like we're making sure we're doing the right thing.
We understand and respect the
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
not a
absolutely.
criticism. It's just I'm just
I
trying to
understand.
figure out like the need, like capital NEED versus the want or the lowercase need, right? Like I'm just very wary of hiring or adding time, adding staff, whatever the terminology you want to use is. I'm wary of that just because I know that we're in a precarious position here, and the towns around us, they've got overrides and they're failing, and I'm terrified, to be honest, that we're going to be there someday, and I don't think that someday's that far off, and we're headed there, right? And so that's a concern, and with the school being our largest budget in town, that's the one that I think that unfortunately ends up under the microscope, right? Like we're picking apart your lines that way and stuff. And I don't want to be here doing that either, but at the same time, we have a responsibility to everybody in town. So it's,
We understand and respect it, and we
Yeah.
understand we're a town department, so
Yeah.
we want to work well with those.
yeah.
Yep,
Good.
so thank you.
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, and that's okay. I just had a couple of things I wanted to go over. That
Yep.
was okay, because it was important to me. I feel like I owe Robin specifically, but also Kara an answer. And so I want to be able to provide it and just give a little bit of background. So as everybody's aware, everybody in this room, for the most part, is aware that on March 7th, they sent an email to the Board of Selectmen, the school committee, Mark and Kathy. Mark gave a response on March 8th. And on March 9th, the school committee met. And so my email basically went over some of the concerns, because I met with, quite frankly, before I sent the email, I had a conversation with each board member individually and went through the entire budget as I could piece it together, but I didn't have a copy. So I went through it as best as I could. And during the meeting, and it was a fair question from Robin. Robin had said that you said that you found the timing of my email to be peculiar. And the reason being was just because we had apparently had a couple of sub-budget committees.
Yep.
And so you were rightly being critical to say, well, geez, I'm assuming from a timing standpoint. is that you were saying, why wouldn't we have received the email prior to March 2nd?
Yeah,
as
or
opposed
just
to-
the conversation.
No worries.
Right.
So I think you're deserving an answer. Like, I think it was a legitimate question. So if you could do me a favor, if you could go to page 82. So this here is a copy of my scribble. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run through this a little bit so that way you have a direct answer. Is that this is our 1021 agenda, that when Mark puts it together and we meet as a subcommittee, and for the public that is listening, that includes the chair of the finance committee, that includes Mark and Kathy, that includes 2 school committee members, which is Karen and JP, and includes Jeff, and includes myself. I hope I didn't miss anyone. And in that agenda, you'll see that it has said future staff needs. And you'll see that kindergarten grades 1 through 6, only 4 teachers, and then grade 6, we talked about 127 for FY27. But when it says nursing needs, it was hiring for surround care. There was no mention of a floating nurse during the day. And as you can see, again, from my little notes, is that it talks about, hiring for after school. And we had a lengthy conversation about staff requirements and number of kids in classes, and we really drilled down. But to be honest with you, there is nothing in that meeting that equated out to these 2 pages that we were provided today about the hires. We skipped to the next page. The next page is our January 14th meeting. Please know, this was the same night that we all did the walkthrough. So, the meeting was supposed to start at 5. It didn't start till 5:15. We left at 6. In 45 minutes, we got through 5 boxes. We didn't get through the rest. But again, look to see what we did get through. Grade 6 will go to 5 sections specifically for FY27. We're looking at future staff needs of instructional technology, not media specialists, which I don't know at that time is the same thing. Part-time reading, which you identified tonight, and a part-time nurse. Again, I'm still thinking surround care, based on the October meeting. Doesn't say FY27. It doesn't say this year. It just says future staff needs. And then we don't discuss anything after that. Again, we just ran out of time. Usually, what happens is that somewhere between that time period and March 2nd, which was your public hearing, usually Mark and I and Kathy get together and go over a draft budget. Didn't happen this year. And if you look at these agendas, this is all we got. I'm not being critical, I'm just answering your question.
No, and I actually think it's fair to reflect on our process.
No budget
And
numbers.
how can we improve it? Right?
No numbers, no cost structures, no increases, no dollar values, 0. I call these, and I'm not being disrespectful, I'm being honest. These are theme conversations. This is what is kind of generally needed. This is what we're generally seeing. We're trying to make sure, like Mark does a really, really good job of explaining to us, like the overall, I call it 20, 30,000 foot view. But there's no numbers. So the first time I see numbers is after the March 2nd meeting. And it's 2.5 hours, and I have more than a full-time job. It took me 2.5 days to watch it. And then in the meantime, I called 7 managers. And I said to all of my manager counterparts, what are you seeing for increases in your schools? And they're all no hiring, level funded, reductions. That night, you had a school committee member from BR say they're laying off 30 people. I spoke to Sharon. Your priorities committee is 3.35%. Last year was 3.5%. So it wasn't like it was a spike last year and it came down. And so I'm looking at it going, we're an anomaly. And so I'm not being critical. That's what I was trying to say. I didn't say any one bad thing. All I was highlighting was these positions that are highlighted here are not mentioned in here. And my role, as Nancy said in that meeting, because it's part of a process, I am required to provide a balanced budget to them. And that's why I sent out the email, and I did it as fast as I could, because if you noticed, I worked on a Saturday to finish it, to get it out to you. And so when I look at these, I highlighted these. These highlights are on that agenda. It doesn't tell me FY27, but it tells me that you guys are looking at that. But nowhere on these agendas is OT, or an additional elementary instructional assistant, or the increase for the music teacher. I'm not being critical of any of them. In fact, I think I said in the email I support it.
You did.
I was just saying we've got to repurpose, only because I'm looking at numbers. And I don't know, because I conceded I can never do Mark's job. I don't know how to do it. I'm not trying to do it. But other school districts are doing that today. And I'm going to guess, because Mark had highlighted in the email, that the school department is unique to other departments in town. He's 1,000% right. But you're not unique to Easton School District, or East Bridgewater, or BR, or Sharon. And they're all figuring it out. And we're the only one that's near a 5% increase, which quite frankly is a little masked, because last year, which we're going to get to in a moment, you budgeted for many more agricultural students than you needed. And so therefore, that $170,000 reduction in the budget that's tied to that kind of masks a real 6% increase. And there, I can't find a school district small or large. I mean, again, I'm not trying to compare to Boston. They're laying off 500 teachers this year. So I don't want to lay off anyone. But if we're going to add in a period of time that is inconsistent with not only our local municipalities, but our state is laying off, the federal government is laying off, the labor report came out 2 weeks ago that showed that unemployment ticked up because the overall employment went down. We're out of staff. And that was what I was saying. And so I'm sorry for the timing, but I did the best I could with the information
No, I appreciate
had.
it.
So I want to make sure you guys had that answer, because I thought it was a legitimate criticism at that time, and you deserved a response as to why that occurred.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
If we could do this, if we could go to page 4. We don't ever discuss this during the school budget process. But the reason I highlight this is because the town needs to know.
Page number, I'm sorry.
Page 4.
Oh, it's there. It's the same. At first it wasn't. Just kidding.
Is
If
that-
I turn like this, my neck won't make it.
Is that when you do a hire, we pay the overall health insurance, not just for the active employee, but for the retired teacher as well. So when you hire a teacher and you say, oh, we're only hiring one, and it's only $45,000, that's $45,000 in your budget. But I just received my re-rating on the health insurance. It's going up 10% this year. In the family plan in West Bridgewater, because we have really good health insurance, that is to the town, is $32,000. So when you hire a $45,000 employee, it costs us $35,000 if they go onto the health insurance. And then when they retire, the health insurance then gets picked to us, and it's not picked up by your side. And I'm not saying it should be. I'm just saying we never discussed
It's just
this.
something to consider. Yeah.
And it's $700,000. It's not a small amount of money. And then when I look at the bottom at tuition assessments, I don't know why, but you've got people leaving the school district to go to charter schools. You don't pay it, we pay it. And that's up 45% this year. So, again, that's why we keep on saying you're seeing a reduction of enrollment. It is 1,379 4 years ago to 1,360 this year. I recognize some of it is school choice. I'll talk about that in a moment. But that's a reduction of 19. It is hard to understand from our point of view that if I had 19 less roads in town, that we would hire more DPW. Or if we showed that we had a decrease of 4% in crime, we would hire more police. But most people would say, geez, that's an inverse relationship. And so, again, in Mark's email, he talked about that we were the only district that had some modest increase in population, because he had said that there was a decrease in school choice over those years, which is true. But again, I'm going to just look at the numbers. 1379 to 1360 is 19. In 2022, you had 250 school choice. You have 229 now. That's 21. So you had organic growth of 2. My guess is that's the modest increase that Mark was referring to. Maybe I'm off by 1.
Well, we've increased a little bit since.
But my point is that it's 2 or 3 kids, and you're hiring 19 people over that period of time. Again, I'm not being critical. I'm just saying that I'm not, and I have no ability to be able to say, do this, do this, do that, which is what my email said, because I would never do that. But from a number standpoint, you look, we've got to reassess, or we've got to move, or we've got to do something. Because we legitimately are headed for an override. That is just crystal clear. And it's not just West Bridgewater saying that to be fearful. Every town around us has had one. And Hanson, after doing theirs multiple times, finally passed it, but everybody else said no. And that's why they are laying off. So the people we're hiring now we're going to lay off, I don't think that's fair to them. So that's my concern. And then I'm going to ask you to go to page 84. I'm looking for I just want to make sure I'm not reading this wrong. So this here is last year's budget. And you'll see you at 185.75 FTEs. But you'll also see in the middle of the line this 3411 custodial services, and that's 13 FTEs. If you go to the next page, you'll see it's 190.25. So that's your 5.5 or 5 or so that you're discussing. But you'll also see custodial services goes to 13.5. Now, I'm not saying you don't need another half a custodian. I'm not saying that. Where's it disclosed? I've listened to every single budget hearing. I've read everything. I can't find it.
That's when we were using 2 part-time people. So 2 part-time people who were not in the budget were then put into another half-time person. So yeah, they should have been in there, but they were paying the same amount.
This is your budget last year. These are the handwritten notes on the bottom. It shows 12.5 and it identifies those specific people. And this year, it shows the same notes, but the extra half. Again, I'm not being critical of that. But I don't know how we have a budget hearing, and if we're actually we're hiring those people that you showed, plus another half. And so it's kind of hard for us to look at and really understand all the numbers. And that's why, again, I asked the line of questioning from earlier. Your budget for media specialist, it's a requirement of accreditation. You chose not to hire. I'm not saying you didn't have qualified people to apply. I'm sure it's difficult. I'm not saying that it wasn't. But you repurposed the dollars. And now you got to hire somebody else. And then I say, well, what's going on with the custodian? To me, it's all kind of like the same picture. So, again, I'm not being critical. But to me, year on year, that's a 5. I don't care if it's more people or increase in numbers. It's 5 more equivalent of FTEs that is out of step. And some of that does bump up our health insurance. So and I'm making up these numbers, but if there's 2 actual hires and the rest of the increase in FTEs by adding 2 point whatever. Well, 2 people times $30,000 apiece, we just picked up $65,000 of expense on the health side. And so when Mike said earlier that we put out to all of our departments and said, you will not hire, and we did that, that's because as the personnel board, the only board they don't have jurisdiction over is obviously the school. And I get that, because to be honest with you, I've always said this, I think the 1992 Educational Reform Act is maybe one of the best acts ever passed, because it was meant to try to get the politics out of the budgets and allow Mark as superintendent to run the school, and I love that. I think that's the right approach. But there's something problematic with the process, because if you guys can hire people and we don't know, well, like you had said something about earlier, you said last year you did something with an instructional assistant.
We had to hire someone during the year.
But that wasn't disclosed during the budget process. And so what I'm saying is that's okay, because you guys have that legal authority. But if we do that, and there's a hit on our side, how do we not talk about that? How can we not have any input? How can we not have any involvement? And so I just think that that's a process problem, because I don't want to see anybody not get the services that they're looking for. I have 2 bachelor's degrees and a master's degree, and I'm not going to get into it a lot, but I came from an extremely poor family. Education got me to where I am today. So I want that for everybody. But there's always still going to be limitations. And that's all my email was trying to spell out. The last thing is if we could just talk about the agricultural schools for a second.
Can I just
Of
respond to
course,
before you move
absolutely.
on? So I agree with you, and I think the process, I think JP and I both agree that we had some requests this season on how we figure things out and the timing of getting numbers, and I agree with you. But even though those agendas didn't necessarily say FY '27, we did discuss it as probably being FY '27, and it does mention that like in my minutes from those meetings as being multiple of those positions being FY '27. I think my concern was this conversation you're having right now, I would have loved to have that candid information from you at one of those meetings to say, look, can you do your best to try not to hire? Or could you do your best to try to stay within a certain % increase over last year's budget? It would have been probably helpful to Ms. Grant and Mr. Bodwell when developing the budget, as opposed to, while I can appreciate what you said in your email, it's hard for us to do anything about it 2 days prior to the budget vote.
Yeah, no, I fully get that. Look, first, I am pure man. So if I miss some things that night, I don't doubt. I don't pick up on everything. But, and again, I'm not being critical. This is the first time in 13 years I have not sat with the superintendent prior to the budget being delivered where I looked at it. Usually that's what we do. And I didn't do that this year. And again, we all have time. Listen, I'm just factually stating what happened. So you're right, is that maybe I could have missed a few items in that for timing or whatever. But normally we would sit down, say it 2 weeks beforehand, we would look at it, I'd understand it, and then I would have been able to maybe forward some of those comments.
Okay. No, I appreciate that.
And then the last thing in reference to the agricultural school, this has to do with this current year and next year, but if we could just go to page 87. So this was last year, and we remembered, if we will recall, that there was a concern that we had so many more people. And so we had a budget for it, because I get that, because I have to do that with my health insurance. So we budgeted $462,000 because we were concerned about both schools receiving about another 9 or 10 students. And then, as they said, it doesn't include the transportation for Bristol Aggie. So if we go to the next page, we'll see that we got the invoice in from Norfolk, which is 140. There are no students at Bristol. I've already confirmed that. So my first question is, since we budgeted 462 and the amount due in that line is at 140, is the town going to see $350,000 or so back in this year's budget?
That's just for half.
I was gonna say,
That's
that doesn't seem like that's
half,
not a full year.
Yeah,
tuition.
that's
That's
the,
second
that's a
semester.
second semester.
They're about 30,000 or more per year, I think. Really-
So
It is.
how much will that total be then?
I think 170,000.
Yeah,
right?
about
That's related, that's
170,
in-
Okay.
that's what was over, budgeted.
Okay, because I see that in your line. There's $170,000. So that $170,000 would be the dollar amount that would be returned.
If we
I'll give
had,
it to you.
if we had no other extraordinary costs that weren't correctly budgeted, yes.
Okay, all right, okay.
I doubt it will be the full 170. We've had significant heating maintenance costs, but, you know, it should be very close.
Okay, all right. And then, again, drilling down on what the selectmen talked about earlier, on page 72, you guys provided the slide in reference to the 35.6% fit into the category of high needs. So I did the math. We have 1,360 students in the entire district. That means we would have 484 students that fit this definition. Is that about accurate? So out of that 484 students, some of them are school choice and some of them are not school choice. I'm not asking one, it's like one
Yeah.
group.
So, yep,
Probability wise, absolutely. Yep.
So if we have some school choice students that fall into this, are we reimbursed dollar for dollar for whatever it is that we spend in reference to being a high student need student through the school choice reimbursement
It's
program?
only for students that are on IEPs, correct?
correct.
But I doubt it is dollar for
No
dollar.
worries.
Kathy Marble
Yep,
handles submitting.
no worries. So the IEPs are potentially different than English learners.
Yes.
Correct.
So that means an English learner, and I'm making up a town, I'm sorry, Stoughton, if I say it, don't get mad at me. But if a student comes from Stoughton and is an EL student, and they require additional services, we are not being reimbursed for that.
Correct, it would only be the IEPs.
Yep, okay.
And we already have a teacher in that, so we're not adding a teacher for them. And again, a very small minority of our choice students are EL students. I mean, I'm assuming there are at least a couple, but it's a very small number.
Yeah, that may very well be, but if you're adding even 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3, I mean, an $80,000 salary, 0.1, that's $4,000 or $8,000. So the question is, are we recouping any of that? And if the answer is no, it still calls into question, is school choice, I mean, like BR just got rid of school choice because they're seeing the same problems. So, and I know it's going to cost the town more because we'd have to wean off of it over time. But are we economically, is it economically advantageous to look at that? I don't know the answer, but I do think we should study it. Because every year we talk about it, but we don't really talk about it in numbers. We talk about it kind of at a high level, and then we're all, be honest, we're all just thank God that the budget season is over, and so we wait, and then we have the conversation 12 months later. But I do think we want to be fair. Well, I'm speaking for myself. I want to be fair to the staff, I want to be fair to the educators, and I really want to be fair to our West Bridgewater students and the parents who are paying that bill. And if this sounds cruel or crass, I'm very, very sorry. But I don't think that a West Bridgewater parent should be paying for a portion of a tax bill for a student outside to come in. Like if that is dollar for dollar, then we're made whole, great, we're just filling the seat. But if it does cost the West Bridgewater taxpayer even 20 cents a year, that's an unfair 20 cents of that West Bridgewater taxpayer. And so I just think we're going to have to look at that. Because when I look at the numbers, if 484 students out of 1,131 West Bridgewater students, because that's our actual West Bridgewater population, that'd be 43% of West Bridgewater students qualifying for this. And there's no way that 43% of West Bridgewater organic students are qualifying for these. So there has to be more and through the school choice program. I think it has to be studied. And I don't know how we do that. I have no jurisdiction to be able to call that. But I do think that maybe it would be a wise thing to look at going forward.
Yeah, it's just another data point, absolutely.
That was it. But I hope, I really wanted you guys to have the answers.
Appreciate it.
Anything else?
I got nothing.
I have one question. Who's the school committee secretary?
Christine, she is not here at the moment. You mean Maureen Ellis.
Okay, because I was just seeing a significant increase in that line of a $4,000 increase. It's 41%. What's that? Her job doubled?
There's a lot of hours to do.
Yeah. So one of the things that we had to do this year, just by improving our own process, is for all of our subcommittees, we have to make sure that we're posting them, that we're doing minutes. And we'll admit right now in open meeting, we were not doing what we should have been doing. Okay. And so we really kind of looked at the hours that Maureen was putting in and the increase over the years. Now that we're doing things, and it's not just this year, it's been the last several years that we're changing practice, and it's increased our hours quite a bit.
Okay, I can appreciate that. So if it's just to be, doing the right thing, that's fine. I was just really curious because that's a significant
number,
jump, and it's not a large number total, but it's almost double. So it's like 41% is a big number, and so it kind of sticks out to me. And then just another one more question. Line 3140. I don't know what page that is, Christine.
3140, page 82.
Oh, you are awesome. Who's the business clerk?
84. Excuse me.
Oh, Tori and Kathy Quinn.
Okay.
And Kathy Quinn also runs a Surround Care program, so we offset 100% of her salary with Surround Care funds from the revolving account, plus any additional amounts.
Yeah, I was
So
just
we're
seeing
applying
130 in that line. Can't find the page. That was the wrong page, but
Yeah,
Correct.
it's
You
yes,
said 3140?
two.
line
She's not
3140.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
replaced her full-time.
Yeah.
Each
No, it's
84.
broken out though. They've got them like in the broken out lines.
Yes,
Yeah.
Go back to page 31. I'm sorry. What is the control number, Marcy, that you're looking at?
3140, was it? No. Yeah, finance and legal services, was that it? The 3140, that's what my notes
Yes.
say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
3140. Hey, go back to page 3140. Okay, now scroll forward
Yeah.
until we get to control number 3140.
That's what it is,
So
yeah.
just-
It's after this one.
That's right.
Yep.
There you go. Keep on going. And we're going to get to 31.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, the business, yeah, I saw that. So that's,
So that is $45,000 salary for one, for a part-time person. She works 20, 25 hours a week.
uh-huh.
And then the entire salary plus an additional $4,000
Mhm.
is covered by surround care. Of one FTE person who does accounts payable, billing, and 100% of surround care. Surround care pays for her whole salary, plus a little bit more to offset some of the part-time business person.
Okay. Right.
So should the business clerk line be higher than a one FTE? Like the words at the bottom,
Mhm.
the notes? Because aren't you saying it's a person and a half?
We have a .5 who does payroll, HR,
Yep.
and .5 of Kathy Quinn is surround care, and .5 is business office.
So
So,
it's one.
It should be 1.5 then, right?
0.5, 0.5,
Well, it should
0.5.
be,
Where-
there should be a .5 line for surround care.
sure. I mean, we don't always put all the revolving personnel in. I can change it.
Yeah, I'm just, transparency and all.
And
But
if
the
you didn't know that and
surround
you were
care-
reading the budget, you would think the person makes 130,000.
And that's exactly what I was
No.
thinking.
That's, but by your words,
I
that's
see.
what
Yeah.
you would think.
Yeah.
I think that's the confusion.
No,
Thank you,
just
JP.
that.
That's exactly what I was getting at because I was wondering what that was. Yeah. Okay. Just reading my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, and it's just curious. Line 3422, high school repairs, looking for an additional 25,000. I was just curious what that's tied to. Specifically, like what repairs, if there is specific information.
What page are we looking at? 56?
So in ours,
I don't know if they're the
Yeah.
same.
20, yeah.
Um,
It's different.
5595, the bottom line there, high school repairs.
We moved someone around.
Right, I
Electrical,
moved,
think.
yep, I did. I moved the money that we typically had on the electric line, that it was clear that we were over budgeting at previous years for electricity, and we have had additional repairs at the high school. Some have been particularly related to heating. This year, we had a $35,600 repair for one of the heating units. So, I mean, I could have put it up in heating, but so many high school repairs, they combine a lot of areas, electric, heating, general repairs. So
So we weren't looking to take money out of the budget, we were just looking to
I
repurpose it?
moved it. I moved it out of electricity into here.
I would just like to see us try to take money out, but, okay. I think that's all I've got. Mike?
Okay.
David?
No, I'm
Tapping out.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you guys for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night, drive safe.
Fortunately, we don't have to go far.
Aha, hop, skip, and a jump.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
You get to sit through it twice.
I'll text you.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, we can go earlier, we're good.
I'm going to try again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right, so I think the only thing that we did not get to on the agenda is the public comment period, and we have public if they want to comment.
Have plenty tomorrow.
I'll bet. You can go home and write your questions down tonight. All right, well, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the
Second.
meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you guys for coming out.